Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. So when a fair six-sided dice is tossed, the mean toss is 3.5 with a standard deviation of 1.7. What are the mean and standard deviation for the sum of 10 independent tosses of this dice? The sum of 10 is another way of asking if we repeated this 10 times. So close that. It's a multiplying by 10, okay, which is a little bit confusing because the sum of 10 leads us to thinking of addition. But they're really saying repeat this trial 10 times. So it's a multiplying by 10, so we want to think about what changes when we multiply. Remember that they gave us the standard deviation. We need to take the standard deviation, get the variance, multiply the variance, and then take the square root of that. Okay? So whenever they give us standard deviation, we need to be working a variance. These hints are going to be really quick today because it's just pretty straightforward, so we're going to go through it pretty quickly. A real estate agent finds homes and buyers for 70% of its clients. What is the mean number of sales for his next 10 clients? Again, it's a multiplying by 10. The only difference here is that because it's a proportion, the standard deviation is going to be based on the square root of n times p times 1 minus p. Okay? Because we're dealing with proportions and not numbers. Okay? So when we're dealing with proportions, that's the formula for standard deviation. So just a heads up, that's something we didn't actually review in class today. Next problem, they give us a probability distribution. The easiest way to do this is actually on your calculator by putting your frequencies in L1 and your probabilities that accompany them in L2 and running stats. Okay? So probabilities in L1, number of adults in L1, probabilities in L2, you're going to run two variable statistics, so stat calc 2 for one variable statistic. And if you haven't put your data into L1 and L2, you'll need to tell it where you did. If you put it into L1 and L2, then you can just do stat calc 2 and it will automatically base it off of L1 and L2. And that will give you your standard deviation. The next, they give us a probability distribution, and they want to know what's the probability that a randomly chosen subject completes at least 3 puzzles in the 5-minute period. This is an extremely straightforward question. I threw it in here just to keep you on your toes. It's just a probability distribution. You're not doing any combining. You're not doing any linear transformation. There is no work to do it. You are answering the straightforward question. It is as easy as it seems. Next, the number of calories in a 1-ounce serving of breakfast cereal has a mean of 110 and standard deviation of 10. The number of calories in a cup of milk have a mean of 140 and standard deviation of 12. For breakfast, you eat 1 ounce of the cereal and 1/2 cup of the milk. So this is a combination, but before you combine your random variables, you have done a linear transformation on the milk part. So there's 2 parts. First, you're doing a linear transformation. Let's first call x the cereal random variable and y the milk random variable, okay? So we're doing a linear transformation on y. We are multiplying by 0.5. And after we do the linear transformation on y, we are then combining via addition, because we're eating cereal and milk, so it's an addition. We are combining via addition our x and y variable. Remember, when you combine your x and y and you're dealing with standard deviation, you need to take the standard deviation, you need to square it for x, you need to do the same thing for y, add those two quantities together, and then take the square root of it. Do not forget to take the square root of that summed quantity, or else you'll be reporting a variance and not a standard deviation. They ask us for a standard deviation. So it's very, very important that we remember to take the square root. The last problem, certain vending machine offers 20-ounce bottles of soda, and the mean is 50 and the standard deviation is 15. Y is the revenue. Assume the machine works properly and that no sodas are stolen. What are the mean and standard deviation of Y? So this is going to be a combined random variable again with multiplication. And that's it. Just remember this is just basically putting the pieces like we just did in the previous two problems together into one problem. That concludes the hints for today.